You're watching WGBS News, Metropolis.
Hey, can I see a show of hands? How many people in this room actually have a larger-than-life-size statue of them in Metropolis? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, well, Neil, everybody. Now, we certainly hope at this point that everybody in this room has seen Noel's statue down at the other end of town. It is a work of art, by all means. And of course, Noel, you're a piece of work yourself. We're so happy to have you here. And from what I understand now, there are still spaces available if you're interested in buying a brick and putting your name or your family's name on the forecourt in front of that beautiful statue. You can head down to the Chamber of Commerce, and I believe they also have a table set up right out by the main tent where you can get yourself a brick. It's only $75. I got one for my family. A bunch of us all chipped in and got one for our website. It's a great investment in your future. You'll be able to bring your kids, your family. It's going to stand for a very long time, and nobody deserves it more than Noel and Neil. Congratulations. And from what I understand, now that we've got the Superman statue on one end of town, and we've got the Lois Lane statue at the other end, I was just talking to Mayor Billy today about maybe putting a little something in between, and we're looking at possibly doing, one of the things that I've kind of rolled out is the Walk of Heroes, sort of like the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, where we can actually have shields on the ground for Supermen, Superwomen, comic book artists, anybody involved in the history of Superman. And Mayor Billy and I can have a little chit-chat about that, but hopefully we'll get that with that and a lot of other great stuff. There's always something to do in Metropolis, there's always something new in Metropolis, and there's always something special just like this auction. But before we get the auction started, I'd like to bring out the man who's responsible for this evening. He hates to come up and talk, but once we get him up here, he'll warm up a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Hemmers.
Have a good time here tonight? Have a good time today? This week? A lot of you have been here for 4, 5, 6 days. They started coming in last Friday, actually. And I'd just like to say that we're very happy to have you here. I know the mayor's happy to have everybody here because it helps the economy, the local economy, and we all know how that's been lately. There's a lot going on out there that have it quite a bit worse down at the golf and so on, but you know, some way, somehow. Last year we had a shorter crowd, and it looks to me like we're on our way to recovery again. This is we're glad to be back at the Baymont. Are you happy about that? And especially the new addition to the city of Metropolis, the Noel Neal statue is amazing. And I don't know if a lot of you know, but Gary Smith also is the one that is responsible when he sculpted the Superman statue back 18 years ago. So we're happy to have that here, and as we're talking about it, I refer to the two statues now as bookends because we've got some stuff to put in the middle. And I think that what we want to do is we want to convince the city of Metropolis that this is a worthwhile project, and it'll be easier to do than normal because we're telling them that it's not going to cost them any money. All they have to do is give the word yes. And we'll figure out ways to get the fan sites and the fans of the specific subjects that go in there to help us pay for the space. So we've got some additional things too. I come across on the internet this element called kryptonite. Have you ever heard of it? Well, there's actually something that they call kryptonite. It glows in the dark. And I called you on it, and I guess it's the brightest stuff known to glow in the dark. And they can mix it into the concrete, and when it becomes dark outside, the sidewalks automatically light up. And have a glowing green, which I think is kind of interesting. And speaking of glowing green, we've got a new addition over to Americana Hollywood. I don't know if you've seen my #1 Lex4 kryptonite still, but we're going to be delivering hot sauce all over the world, green hot sauce called kryptonite. So I know it's been hot out today. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time with you, but it's important to realize and understand what the George Awards are. The George Award is awarded to the one person that throughout the year that, in my mind, is a Superman, or Superwoman, or Supergirl. And we started this a long, long time ago. It's been probably 25 years. When I was in LA, we handed it out to certain people, and it just kind of stuck. And when I came to Metropolis, I brought the whole concept here with the George Awards. And George was Noel can tell you a lot more about George Reeves than I on a personal level, but there was many of us that grew up in the 50s that became very attached to that show. And some of the reasons were Noel Neal and her portrayal and the examples that were set through their acting on the show. And George kind of clicked with a lot of people. I didn't realize it until I had my museums. I had mobile museums before we came here to Metropolis, and I ran them out there for 15 years. And we got a genuine idea about the effect that some of these actors, Clayton Moore and George Reeves, Noel Neal, and Hopalong Cassidy, and what kind of positive effect they had on us when we were growing up, especially those who grew up without a father. And so there was a lot of things that in the beginning that I didn't think about. I did it because I liked to do it. I have a passion. I still do. I still have fun with it. But knowing where that all came from and the influence and the amount of people that were affected in the same way. So it means a lot to me. I have a friend that passed away about 6 months ago. His name is O.D. Troutman. And he was a man that, for me, when I came to Metropolis, and I have all these crazy ideas, and he spent a good part of a half a decade just keeping my feet on the ground because I wanted to do this and go crazy and do all these different things. He said, you may be able to get away with being that aggressive in Los Angeles, but you have to slow down a tad. So he spent a few years in giving me the finer points of the importance of being able to sit on a porch and whittle a stick while you're thinking about some of the things you want to do, and just slow down a little bit. So, I don't know, at times it works for me, and other times I still don't have any patience and fly up at things that, and get frustrated over projects that I want to be involved in, or different ways to make it great for tourists and people like yourself to come to Metropolis or to come to the celebration every year. But O.D. Troutman was a really good friend of mine. I had lunch with him every day of the week, 5 days a week, for 16 years. And in that 16 years, he really taught me a lot about the importance of giving, the importance of community service, the importance of helping our community and helping others in need, and really signifying and basically being that Superman inside that we all admire. We don't worship it, but it's important for us to remind ourselves and others truth, justice, and the American way. And I'm glad that that's actually catching on in other countries as well. But for me, it's a big deal. So what we're going to do from now on with the George Award is I'm going to hand over OD's trophy to them. And they're going to sit with it for a couple of hours at the table while they're here at the auction, and understand that what I want out of this is I want some of that character and some of that positive thinking and some of that willingness to help others. I want it to rub off on you, because that's the man that had it all, and he really left an impression on me. So if you're wondering why there's a George Award with the year 2005, that's the reason. And then at the end of it, I'll give you your trophy, and we'll do it again next year. But I want to also always be reminded, and I always want to remind you of a friend that I had that really had an impact on this town and many other people here. And so I just wanted to let you know that, so we can get on with the other awards now.
You're watching WGBS News, Metropolis.